What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the garage. Super excited to talk about our next project. I think it's going to be a super cool one. It's definitely something I've never done. Don't see these frames a lot. I've kind of seen them, going as complete bikes. So when I had the opportunity to pick this one up, the condition it is, I think it's going to be a sweet build. I got to decide how I want to build it, but let's take a look. It's a dual suspension, so it's got front suspension and rear suspension. I've got some sick plans I think I want to do for this thing. So trying to decide a few things. First things first, I just brought it home, so I wanted to see if it's going to hold some air, see if I get any air in these tires. And it's grimy, so all in all, like the actual chrome looks like it's going to clean up pretty nice, but you definitely got some crud here where the chain was. So take a pressure wash to it. It's got all the accessories, so it's missing, if you do a 4-speed, this thing would have, shifter on it, and I think that's the route I'm going to go. Someone had cut off the top brackets that goes to the top of the engine, but it still has the back mounts, so I'll easily be able to weld up the brackets. And I think we're going to drop a 150 in this thing, so I'm super excited about that. Not sure about the seat. I've got some parts on the way. I'm going to do the fender because this actually would sit, trying to figure, I think it goes down actually like that. So, and then the fender goes in there. So, but I've got some parts. I think this is going to be a super rad build. I kind of want to figure out, that's a 12-inch, that's a 17-inch. So and that's how it came from factory. I mean, that's just what it is. So I just want to decide, man, what am I going to do with this thing? I thought about at first maybe trying to make it look like my Harley, be a mini Harley with the T-bars and fairing. I've really been wanting to build like a chopper, but I don't want to hack this frame up. It'd be a shame to hack it up and make it a hardtail. I've been riding all kinds of mini bikes, and it's nice to have the suspension, so it'd kind of be counterproductive to take the suspension off. And the other cool thing about this is it does have a VIN, and I've got all of that, so this will be road legal. So that is just exciting. I always ride my other mini bikes. I have been pulled over, so to be able to put a tag on this thing is going to be super awesome. It's got the turn signals. It's got 1,300 miles, almost 1,400 miles. This does work, and it's I mean, again, it's held up pretty nice. It runs to the front wheel, so that's going to work. So I'll have a speedometer. It's got the turn signals in the front. I have to get those in the back, but I mean, it's got all the nice, all the nice switches and stuff. I need to get a handle for this because I would like to maintain that. I don't know how much of this harness is going to work, but it's not a problem. The engines do come with a new harness. Gonna have to fix the rear brake, so the rear brake does work, which is great. I just need to make it a little better than what it is, which I have another one of those, so that's awesome. I've got a lot of parts, so let's go ahead and air these tires up, spray it down with a pressure washer, and just see how it cleans up. Well, that's super exciting, guys. Look at that. It actually took air on the front and back. I was able to take it, just rode it down, and the speedo does work, which is fantastic. So I've got a engine. It's the one I always use. I'm going to mock up. It's my mock-up engine, but I'm going to throw it in there just to get an idea of what it's going to look like. All right, so that gives you an idea of kind of how it will sit with that engine in there. Bolts up through the back, like I said, and then you make your brackets to the top of the engine. And that's pretty much it. Probably have to run the carburetor possibly differently so it doesn't bump into the frame. I need to look into that. Couple things, but it's a start. it's definitely, you know, it's the start of a new project, so I'm super excited about this one. Tires are aired up, seems like they're holding pretty good. Do that Sportster tank that I always like to use, change the goofy bars, put that 125 on here. What I'm going to do is put the 125 on and 125, 150 4-speed. When we do that, wire it up into the harness. I'd like to try to use some of this harness stuff, so I'll go through all the wiring color wise, and it'd be real nice to be able to use the starter and horn and all of that stuff and make it factory. So this is just my mock-up engine. I'm not going to pressure wash it. Next thing I'm going to do, fabricate some brackets and stuff for the engine. I got to order a new engine, start ordering parts, new tank, some fenders, and just all of that. But everything looks like it's going to clean up really nice. So hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned, we've got a lot more coming with this one. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks. What's up, guys? We are back in the garage working on the chopper today, the new chopper, the Pagsta. So I've got a couple new things, new additions to my workshop, so I'm super stoked about. So I ended up getting a pipe bender, so now I can start making you know, custom exhaust, handlebars, all of that, which I'm going to be working on my handlebars today, making my very own custom set for the chopper. And then I've got a flex core or MIG welder, so I've always had my little stick, picked up a new welder there, just something different, different, you know, different add a different tool to my arsenal just for different applications. So I did actually make, I was messing yesterday, I didn't film it, but started bending and making a pair of handlebars. Don't mind the bars, they're not bad, it's just not the style that I was going for the chopper. But I actually, so I welded these on, but I bent all of this, so I was able to bend this out of one full piece, and it does surprisingly well. So that's what we're going to work on today. I've got a piece. I'm going to make both handlebars, because this is a little tricky. This thing is definitely tricky. It's real hard to kind of get the whole thing to bend at once. So I'm going to make both handle grip and down tubes, and then I'm going to weld it to the part that actually goes into the clamp. So that's what we're going to be working on today. Let's get into it. Check, make sure that's my measurement where I want it. Yep, 7.5. So it's just simple, guys. Got everything in there, and gonna just start bending this thing. Now, what I'm gonna say is, the guy that I watched on YouTube suggested laying it down, so I'm gonna give it 12 pumps, 12 pump chunk. So 12 pumps, and release the pressure, move that over. Now my inch marks, I'm gonna move it over an inch, and rinse and repeat here a little bit. So all right, there you go. So got both of them cut. Obviously they're not going to be flat. I'm going to have them up at an angle. Beauty of that is tools, man. You get the right tools. I got an angle finder, so once I make my base, what I'm going to do is decide kind of what angle I want them at. I really wanted them chopper, like pulled back, but I don't think that's going to work. I'm probably going to do like a 30-degree angle there. Another thing that I got that makes my life a lot easier is the little metal cutoff wheel or cutoff saw. So what I'm going to do, because I can make these round on the bottom, but what I think I want to do is I want to 45 them. So I'm going to 45 them, and I'm going to weld them. I want them to be I want them to be narrow. This is really narrow chopper, so I want to make it definitely make it make them narrow. So I'm going to work on my angles. This thing you can cut at angles, so let's get to cutting. What I'm going to do, or what I've done here, So what I've done was I've got my 45 degree, and then what I'm going to do is find the angle, which I liked right at 30. This makes life way easier, guys, and you get a much better product having the right stuff. So I'm going to get it to 30, and then I'm going to cut my 45. All right, guys, so I've got that all welded up. Check it out. Here's the bars. That's exactly what I wanted. So they've got a nice bend to them. I'm gonna have to clean up the welds. Obviously, that's my first time with that welder, but I think they turned out sweet. I kind of want them to go in just a little bit. They've got a nice profile to them. Definitely get that pipe bender if you're looking to kind of fabricate or bend any pipe. I'd highly recommend it. It's rough. I used the new welder, you know, so I'm trying to figure that out. But all in all, couldn't be any happier. So what's up, guys? Back in the garage, another day working on the chopper. Kind of doing a little bit of everything, cleaning up around the yard, cleaning up around the shop, getting everything, I don't say organized because it's far from that, but getting it to where I can actually have the chopper up on the chopping block. So the last thing we done was work on the bars. We got the bars all welded up. They look freaking sweet. They fit the profile and just the size of the chopper. Awesome. Got this bobber seat off Facebook. Super sick, but I'm not running a hardtail. I just think that you kind of have to do one or the other, right? Like, it's too much. You're gonna have the shock suspension, bobber seat. It just doesn't really flow, which is fine. It's cool. You know, what I really just picked this up for the seat. I paid 40 bucks for this thing. So what I want to do is I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to get rid of the pan and basically have it like that. I think that's going to be more than fine. It's going to give me a good position. This thing isn't, you know, it's not big, but it's not small. So I think it's going to follow the flow of the lines. We're going to have that tank up. I think it's going to work well. So in order to do that, what I'm going to have to do is take this out. Going to have to make this work. So we're not going to use the base plate. What I'm going to do is use the bolts in there on the seat and make a bracket, a couple different brackets. So we're going to have to do some grinding, probably welding, drilling, etc. I don't want to get in the way. This is for my rear fender. I've got some fenders on the way, so don't want to get in the way of that, which we should be fine anyway. But that'll give it a lot more lower tucked look. Kind of lower, rides on the fender. I think that's going to work out pretty good. So we're going to work on that. I've got some metal flat steel we're going to work with, cut some brackets and see if we can get this thing mounted up. All right, so I'm going to find the centers of my bolts. Let's see here. So 0 it out, 0, 3.4 right there. So I'm going to step it back. I think I need to step it, hold that. So I'm just going to do a dot, do a dot. And then I'll find my center on that, and we're going to drill some we'll drill some holes. All right, guys, we got our flat stock drilled, nice and centered. Probably shouldn't be putting that up there with the cutoff. And then my next step, we'll do a test fit. What I'm going to do is bolt this in and see exactly how it fits. Once we do that, we'll tack it. Perfect. Look at that fitting. We'll then tack this in, see exactly if, you know, on the frame, we'll have to tack it in and see what it does. So it should be pretty good. Let's see. Let this cool down a little bit, so this will be the first kind of fit. See how this goes. I know the seat's gonna fit in there. Yeah, that fits nice. Look at that. So that definitely fits nice. It gives it that low tucked look. We've already got shocks, so we don't need the springers. I'm gonna have to figure out, once I get the fender in, kind of how that, you know, how that incorporates there, and then with the extra studs from the springs. But yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm definitely super happy with that. I think that worked out well, so we'll leave that for the night. All right, we are back in the garage. It's another day. I've kind of did some stuff on the chopper outside of the camera. I was just kind of in a groove and wanted to get after it. So I got some parts in, pretty stoked about it. I made this adjustable shift lever, so now I got my shift lever. I think that's going to work pretty good. There's still a little bit of things. I think I'm going to put a tack weld on the back end here just to keep it from spinning. Got a rear fender on. So this is a front fender, so I'm going to cut this piece off because it's meant to, to mount on the front of a bike. But what I did was made these real nice spacers, kept it nice and thin. I think I'm gonna drop the tail end. I'm gonna change these shocks from the 8.5 to probably 6.5. It'll drop the rear end like 2 inches. So what we're going to do today is, I've got the exhaust, super stoked about the exhaust. So we need to, in order to get this thing running, I'm going to start cutting and chopping this exhaust, which I'm excited about because that gives me the opportunity to continue to use my new pipe bender. So what we're going to do is, I am going to use obviously some of this, I'm going to probably go ahead, cut this flange. It's going to be tricky. I think I'm just going to cut it right here, get it in there, and decide how. I don't know if I want it to go under, because if we go under, I'm worried about it scrubbing and clearance issues. It would be really cool if I could go up and kind of like, oh goodness. Like if I could do something like this, that would be super cool, where it went and then it went down and up. I think that'd be freaking awesome. So I'm gonna mess with that today. Obviously I'm gonna film a little bit of bad news. I picked this engine up, like I told you guys, in a package deal with all the other stuff. Try to get the kickstart. I'm pretty sure the engine's locked, so it's fine. In all honesty, for what I paid for everything, I'm not really too mad about it. I'll keep it. It's a perfect mock-up engine, and quite honestly, I'd rather just buy a brand spanking new engine to put on this thing. So I'm going to continue to build it, get everything mocked up, dialed in. When I strip it down for paint, then when I assemble it after paint is when I'll put a brand new engine on this thing. So let's dive into it, boys. Appreciate y'all sticking with me. Here we go. All right, so working on this little exhaust. I've got this flange. I cut it, got my angle swooping around, gonna go through, you know, between the engine. I didn't want to go through the front or underneath. I just thought it was gonna be actually like super just messy. So I just want to do a quick loop, and then what I'm thinking about doing is I cut off, this was for the rear's foot pegs, not going to use those, but it gives me a good opportunity to bolt here. So what I'm thinking is I can bolt it in there. It gives me a nice place to bolt the exhaust. It's going to ride on the bottom, and then of course I ended up using most of just the original exhaust, which is fine. I didn't have to bend anything, but I'm going to tack this little tube in there and then cut it to length. So I tack that little piece in there, and then I'll cut this to length and tack it, and that'll give me just a nice simple exhaust. All right, so I got this third angled part put in. So I thought I've got that like the dirt bike exhaust. Sorry. Got that the same exhaust I was showing you, but I do have this super cool 2 exit. Need to clean it up, but I've got this one. So what I was thinking is, instead of doing the dirt bike one, kind of fit the style here a little bit, what I was thinking about doing is there. So it's really cool, I think, to have it. Need to do a little angle on it, so I'm going to bend a little bit of pipe and kind of do, let's see. Yeah, so we're going to bend a little pipe, put that all in there, and see how that turns out. It's going to be super cool. I think that's a good use of the foot peg that we're no longer going to be using. All right, guys, so there it is. There is the custom pipe for the bobber. So doesn't look too bad. I grinded it down, like they say, right? Grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't. So pretty happy with it. I'll probably wrap it and do some heat paint on the tips, and it'll look pretty good. So let's go ahead and throw it on and see how we fit. There it is. So it mounted up really good. Got plenty of clearance everywhere I need for my foot and stuff, so it's going to clear all my frame. Engine follows the line of the bike. Still going to clear the kickstart, which is good. And then it swoops, instead of swooping out, it swoops in, just barely, but it does. I mean, I got probably a 3/4 of an inch clearance on the tires, so I definitely like that. I think that was a good use of the tip. Can't wait to see how it goes. It's the 2-in-1, so it's probably going to give it a nice little loudmouth kind of. I want it to sound more. The reason I didn't want to use that other one, guys, is which is cool, but those pipes in this engine, it sounds like a dirt bike, right? I want it to sound more like I don't want to say V-twin, because obviously it's just a little thumper, but have a little more thump and a little growl versus kind of the high revving, you know, dirt bike engine sound. So we'll keep that pipe for another project. I actually have something in the works I'm pretty excited to tell you guys about, but I'm probably going to end the video here, guys. Please subscribe, like, share. Stay tuned for part 2. I know this was a long video. I tried to kind of put a lot in there. We've got a ton more to do to this thing, so we're going to get it all ready. Everything fabricated, tank on, everything ready to go, so we can strip it down, paint it. Once we paint it, when we do our full assembly, we're going to have a nice, crispy, fresh engine. Brand new engine, 4-speed. This thing should be fun. So I still gotta figure out and you know, make up a rear brake pedal for the rear brake, and quite a few things to button up on this. So, but we're getting there, and I'm super stoked about that. So until next time, guys, appreciate it. Take care.